A very good point, if I read you correctly. Personally, I don't like to call myself an anythingist, even though the term soft agnostic or even atheist is often applied to me. I suppose that's just one of the titles that other people apply to me to try and make sense out of my position, assuming that they're even interested in my position, assuming that there is a position and they're capable of understanding it. The reason why I say this is I'm not quite sure that it's actually possible for me to understand exactly what someone else means when they say atheist or anythingist, really. And not that I reject these titles as tools to portray certain things, because I think that both positions, the atheist and the agnostic position, are somewhat contingent upon doubt. Unless I can see it, unless I can perceive it with my own eyes, I'm inclined not to believe it. Which is, of course, why I find myself most at home around people who self-identify as atheists and agnostics. And my own position, I would suppose, is the negative position. Again, I don't like to have any ism attached to my beliefs. I guess that's just the coward's way of saying that I want infinite room to maneuver. But I would also say, with the proviso of my atheism / agnosticism / disbelief, that I agree with Hamlet that there are more things on heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy, if I have my Shakespeare correct. I agree that the laws of physics are best paid attention to. It's a good idea not to rely upon divine intervention when things get sticky. It's a good idea to use reason when attempting to fix a flat tire on one's bicycle, and not wave a cross at a tumor. That's fine by me. But this doesn't explain everything. And I have to confess that however rational I like to think of myself as, the irrational has a great pull on me. Although, again, having said that, that's more or less a personal thing that is almost impossible, in my opinion, to discuss with anyone else without it sounding absolutely ludicrous. Now, this doesn't mean that these feelings are ridiculous or crazy or anything like that. It just means that they're almost impossible to portray accurately. Again, another argument, in my opinion, against shall we say, to use the usual crude term, organized religion. I might get together with a bunch of exists of some religion or other, and we might get together and talk about whatever aspects of our faith we think that we have in common, this kind of thing, and we only have words to use to describe what we seem to agree upon, or there's the usual hymn singing or rituals or whatever that are the non-verbal ways in which we express ourselves. But at the end of the day, we don't really know if we all believe in the same thing, or if any of us believe in anything at all, or that we're just getting strength from the fact that, okay, I'm full of doubts, but I'm surrounded by these people that apparently believe what they believe. So I feel a lot better in these people's company. That, too, is something of a self-deception, but just as surely as thinking that you and someone else believe in anything in common. How do you know what someone else believes? You don't. I'm not even quite sure what's going on in my own mind 99% of the time. Apollo's great maxim to human beings, to mankind, gnothi se auton, know thyself, is probably the way that I would sum up my point of view. Figure out what's going on inside your own head. Just sit take a look at what's going on in there before you decide what may or may not be going on in someone else's head. It's quite a salutary lesson, and you have to be pretty withering and pretty relentless and merciless when looking at oneself. It's a very liberating experience, if you ask me, or a liberating point of view. But again, it's confusing, and human beings are social animals, and they don't like to have a philosophy that says that we are all ultimately islands. But again, yes, I tend to agree that the atheist agnostic positions, or the general skeptics positions, are of the same ilk. It just strikes me sometimes that the atheist is a little bit more categorical than the agnostic. But even the agnostic position is, it leaves one with enormous amounts of wiggle room. Because what's an agnostic? Is an agnostic someone who just doesn't care, doesn't bother to think about it, or is it someone who has looked at every possible position and can't honestly say that any of them really make any sense at all? I like to think that I'm a skeptical person, but I'm perfectly capable of being drawn to the irrational, even to the spiritual and the religious. So I don't necessarily believe in any of the religious philosophies, but I think I understand, or I think in little snaps I can understand what motivates it, or what motivates the desire for spiritual growth, or whatever title you care to apply to the process that takes place when people follow their religion. The only problem is with people of faith, they often think, aha, this guy's got doubt, and here's a possibility for us to push our wedge in there and get to this guy. Well, when you have a thought-out position like this, oftentimes people like me are even more annoying to the theist than the atheist might be, because they think, oh, good, I've got there's potential fertile ground there to plant my seeds of faith, or my particular faith. No, it's highly unlikely to work, because I will fire the same series of skeptical questions at them that the most militant atheist will. If you're going to sell me on an idea, you better be prepared to defend that idea. And I've noticed in my encounters with people of faith where I say that, yes, I'm willing to tolerate your point of view, and in fact, lots of it fascinates me. They often, again, they think, oh, good, we've got a potential ally here. No. And I think that there's a lot of this inarticulate, non-istic ism out there. In fact, I might go so far as to say it's probably the norm for most human beings. But then again, even according to my own philosophy or my own point of view, I don't really know. Thank you.